have such a great topic tonight. So, as we are here, please join us as we go into a night of learning and self reflection. Again, welcome to Detox Cafe. Thank you and welcome to Detox Cafe. We are so excited that you guys are here, and we're also excited that this topic is going to be amazing. Tonight's going to be nice, short, and sweet. And as you can see, the title of tonight is Are You the Frog? And the theme of this weekend is I Kissed My Last Frog. And it's a very interesting title, and actually came about on the world says you have to kiss a lot of princes and princesses, and before you even get that, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you get your prize. But what do we have to do not to go through that process? And also, sometimes some people don't like to point the finger to themselves, that we all have our struggles, we all are going through something. And tonight's topic is, are you the frog? And we're so excited to have Dr. Judith Gabriel here with us. She's a doctor in public health. She's a family therapist. She is very familiar when it comes to detox your life. And we're so excited to have her here along with our co-host, Myrna Nash. And we're just going to get right into it again. Tonight's going to be nice, short, and sweet, but it's going to be full of just self-reflection. And what I would love to get into tonight is when it comes to frogs, there's a lot of hopping around, right? So there's a lot of instability when we feel fear, anger, uneasiness. And a lot of times is we as people, we act like that. And the question is why, right? Why do we feel that we have to have a flight risk? Why are most of us flight risk when it comes to not wanting to deal with ourselves or deal with somebody else as well? So what I would like to know is, what is the root cause of that? And what does abandonment issues look like within a person?
First of all, I just want to say thank you for the invitation, and thank you for being here. It's been a while since before the pandemic.
Yes.
So it's a pleasure being here with everyone live or in the audience. Like you just mentioned, I was reading that proverb or saying about frogs, the way they leap, the way they act is like very unstable. But first of all, before we address about anything about instability, about success in life, and let us talk about how we behave the way we do, which is, I think, that's the motive of the whole. The whole idea of why we are here tonight. Why my perception is like this. Why I'm so unsettled. Why I'm so easily angered. Why I'm so whatever the situation is with my character or my personality. By reviewing, we find out a lot of studies have been done about human behavior. Okay, it's not only behavior, but we're talking about also the way we think, the way we perceive things. And I believe we are all placed in relationship, with whether we want it or we like it or not. We have different types of relationships, right? So regardless of who you are, this is your topic tonight. This is regarding you because you are a human being having relationship, interacting with others, whether it's family, whether it's husband and wives or friends or at work. We have all of those wonderful relationships, and God created us to live in relationships.
Right, correct.
So therefore, how I can better myself, if I can use that to be better, to provide better in my relationship, or what can I do in terms of relationship, in terms of responsibility, to know, okay, it's not about me, just in quote, about the narcissistic behavior. It's not all about me, it's about everyone else in my environment. So, but for me to be able to tackle anything about that, I need to know where I came from.
Right.
How did I get into this world? And what happened to me before even I was born have a tremendous impact on how I perceive others and how I perceive myself as a human being. For example, a lot of studies have been done regarding why we suffer so much as human beings, why we cannot provide, that beautiful relationship that we were created to provide. Well, unfortunately, we have no control of so many of them. For example, the way I was born. My perception of abandonment, for example, might be different than yours. The reason why, because I was born from a 16-year-old girl. So from there, we have issues of rejection. And then these are all the rejection because 16-year-old, they're not happy, it's an accident and everything. Even before I was born, all of those were working toward who am I going to be today. So there was rejection. Okay? So my soul, my spirit was rejected because that 16-year-old didn't want that pregnancy. That would be different for somebody else who was born from a family, mother, father, and everything. They're happy. We're going to have a baby shower. That baby is going to be different in terms of abandonment, rejection, humiliation, and all of those things. And then these are like the 5 wounds that we have in our souls that prevent us or that affect the way we think and the way we act. Okay? I can be so very bossy, so very impatient. It just before it was all before I was born. It was before and when I was born. How was I treated as a child? Was I treated with love, with loving parents, with everything? Or was I treated with rejection or abandonment? Like some of us, our family have to be to leave us when we were kids, to look for life, for good reasons, yet, but it was interpreted as rejection or abandonment. Okay, and then we have also experienced humiliation in life. When we go to school, kids bully us for whatever that we have, or because we didn't look like them, we didn't talk like them, we
Right.
didn't, whatever it is, or origins, or whatsoever. So we have suffered all of those wounds, and then now here we are about to have embark with another human being who have all his wounds or her wounds
Right.
about rejection, abandonment, okay, and humiliation, and what do we call trahison? Betrayal.
Betrayal, yeah.
Okay, so these are all the wounds that we have suffered, that make us, who we are today. And then we cannot ignore them because you're gonna be a better husband or better wife or better mom or better dad or better sister or better co-worker or better teacher or better who you are if we are aware that, okay, I am like this because I was abandoned as a child. I was bullied as a child. I suffered, so many trauma as a child or as an adult or even as a young person. Because we keep suffering those. It's not only before we were born, but also it didn't stop there, unfortunately. Some of us suffered before we were born, but we continue suffering along the way, childhood, in your youth, teenagers, and all the way to today where we are having this conversation. So, yes, what makes somebody behave the way they behave or act the way they act or perceive the way they perceive, it all has to do with all of those wounds that we carry in our soul. We call them in psychology the 5 wounds of the soul. Les 5 blessures de l'âme. The 5 wounds of the soul that every human on this planet
Goes
either
through.
experience 1 or 2, but most of us experience at least 3 of them. Because
Wow.
in regardless of how you come, but you have gone to school, you have mingled in the society,
Right.
you have acted with other people. So yes, therefore we are going to suffer all of those wounds, and they are going to shape the way we see the world and the way we see ourselves. If we were if we were betrayed, and then we're gonna become so angered. We're gonna be so hard, so harshness and everything. We want people to pay because I was betrayed, so I cannot trust anybody anymore. So that trust issue is gone from our soul because that wound is there. So it is all about all of those wounds that we carry, not only before we were born, but also while we are growing.
So with what she just said, Myrna, right? When it comes to, and of course, the 5 soul wounds: rejection, abandonment, humiliation, betrayal, injustice. Out of those five, how many? Out of those five, how many do you think that you have witnessed?
Witnessed. Um, how many of the five wounded do you believe most people have experienced,
Or that you have
or
experienced?
that I have experienced? Okay.
Right. Rejection, abandonment, humiliation, betrayal, injustice.
My goodness. So I would say first and foremost, I want to thank you so much for accepting our invitation this evening. It's such a pleasure to have you with us. And also, I appreciate the way that you've uncovered and dissected this word. Because I never even thought of it in, in that way, to be
Right.
quite honest with you. I think that you've uncovered so much, and it's a little scary. I'll explain why. First and foremost, I feel personally for me, I've experienced all five, right? And so my question is to you is when we first and foremost, how do one person find out these five wounded? Because it comes from the soul, and as you mentioned, it's coming before your existence, maybe from a mother, as you mentioned, that didn't want their child, maybe in a case of abortion, right? And it wasn't successful, or the mother was raped or abused,
Right.
and here we are. So, how do we uncover that, especially when we possibly we're not aware of it, but we are born, right? And then we have certain irritation about ourselves. And we think that it's only coming from the surface, maybe because we didn't have our father present for most us women, maybe because we encountered very traumatic experience and relationship. So we think that that's what molded us. But you're saying right now that we were molded of these emotions prior to even the decision making that we've made. So even with what we experience prior to even birth, it's probably why we made certain decisions in relationship, friendship,
Right.
work, the way we see ourselves. So, I mean, this is not taught. So how do we come to a place where we sit and uncover these wounded emotions that we
The
have?
root causes.
Well, I was expecting that question
Right.
because, yes, how do you? Do you know? Because most of us would know. I would know. I heard my mother had me when she was 16. I heard the story, and then that always made me feel so bad about myself, and I didn't know why I was acting the way. I was in school. I was like a very academically oriented, so I want to be the best of everything because I was unwanted.
Mercy.
This is the effect it had on me. But some other people, it would have a different effect. It would have a negative effect. Oh, you didn't want me, so I give up on everything. I'm good for nothing. They didn't want me anyway. So yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be doing nothing. So it has all of those wounds. By the way, they have can have positive effects, and then they can have negative effects. Okay, so I am not even going to say it's the way we do about them, because to me it's innate that the fact that I know that that's the effect it had on me. And some other wounds that I have, humiliation, for example, or betrayal. I had betrayal when I was at the point of my life that I would not trust anybody in my life. You know what I'm saying? So we all have experienced those at one point in life or the other. But the reason why we are here is to discuss, okay, so how I'm going to know how to tackle those and then work on them and then accept, okay, this is the other one that I'm dealing with, and then the other one that are making me the way I am. So therefore, the first step really is by doing what we're doing right now. Talking about it, acknowledging it, like knowing about it, actually knowing about it.
Right.
right? A lot of people don't know. A lot of us didn't know. I didn't know any better. So when we call to healing your emotional wounds, it is essential. I would say it is important so that you reach a happy place and just stay there. Okay? So the first thing we need to do is to identify, to being able to identify them, what each of them are. Okay, that we know about betrayal. We know we suffer from a betrayal, but we don't know the characteristics of the person who suffered the betrayal. Might have an idea, but the person, okay, who suffered, for example, betrayal, that person lacks of tolerance for the life of others. They don't tolerate lies. Like if somebody lied to me, it's like I'm done with you. That's the way I used to be. If you lie to me, do anything else to me, whatever you do to me, but do not lie to me. That's when you get the devil out of me, when somebody lied to me. Right. Okay? So because I suffered betrayal. So that's one characteristic trait that we need to discover. When you were talking about, the trait, the behaviors and everything, right. Difference between the traits that we have, the character that we have, flaws and against, exactly. Okay. So that's a different things when somebody being narcissistic or somebody just have flaws. The flaws we didn't do anything about them. We had nothing to do with them. So I lack of tolerance, but often feel guilty. Okay, if I lie, for example, I feel terribly guilty because I hate lying. I was zero tolerance, and then a constant need to improve. The person is never. They were like, when you say the sky is the limit, that person that was betrayed, they want to prove something. They want to prove. It's like their ego is so highly, unfortunately, they want to prove they will do anything to be successful in this life. Okay? So, and then they have a special need to be worthy, to feel important. I was betrayed. When I use the I, it's not personally I'm just using the word I. I was betrayed because you saw somebody prettier than me, because this is somebody more worthy than me whatsoever. So what changed my conception of me now, okay, I want to be better, me, so you don't betray me, so nobody else betrays me. So it's a constant battle against that inner self that wants to be better, and against all odds, against all cost. And then they attach very high importance on their reputation. Okay, so these are all the trust issues. They will not trust anybody. They have lack of tolerance. They are very impatient, and then they are also impatient. So they will not tolerate anybody's mistake. When somebody make mistake around them, they can be very impatient. So these are all, and then they lack of flexibility. For example, something can happen, and I said, okay, let's do it this way instead. But that person that was betrayed is so stern. No, it's this way. It has to be that way and this way and no other way. So they lack of flexibility. So what can we do? Now that I know, because of betrayal, because I was betrayed, that's why I'm acting like this. So all of those traits, I say, okay, I'm going to work on them. I'm going to try to be patient now. It doesn't have to be exactly the way it is. There is no gray area with somebody that has been betrayed because they want it to be either black, either, white. So once you know about the characteristics, that's when you really can work on them. But if you don't know anything about them, of course, you're going to just think it's okay. Why am I like this? Or I am not like everybody else? Or why people are talking about me? Why people are complaining about me? All of those things. So things we need to work on is the trust, okay? And then being prepared and being important. These are the things that we need to work on when it's come to betrayal. When it's come to, I don't really want to work to the injustice yet. I want to go to the humiliation. When somebody has been humiliated, it's the other way. The person has such a low self-esteem. They don't think, they are worth anything. They don't think they can achieve anything. They settle for anything. So you will see some beautiful young lady settle with anybody because they don't have that self-worth. They were humiliated by their parents. They were humiliated by boyfriend or husband or whomever. It could be only one person, okay? Especially in school, for example. The only way for them is the way it affects them in any type of relationship. They are going to be the one to say yes all the time. Oh, okay, we'll do it like this. Oh, okay, don't worry. So they're going to be the one that people use. People pleaser, exactly. That's exactly. They want to do everything to please the other, and then that give them they have a sense of unworthy. Okay, so they are they are often very sloppy. They are dirty. They don't take care of themselves. They neglect themselves. Things like that. And then they can be actors. They can be any profession, but yet in their inner mind and their conception, I'm not worth it. You compliment them on something that they did well. Oh, well, I don't think so. They are never satisfied. They never would take a compliment and say, thank you. No, they will never say thank you for a compliment. They will, because they don't think you're real. They don't think you are real, you're honest.
Or like it's a genuine compliment.
Exactly. They would, oh no, she's lying. I don't think so. Have you seen people like that you compliment, you're beautiful or you did well, and then the person always like set back and feels so uncomfortable about compliment. Now that about things we need to work on is the independence. Those people are very, very dependent. They like to depend on others. I don't want to go there by myself because I don't want, they always want somebody else to go with them, to do with them, or to be with them all the time. These are the people who settle in a relationship regardless of what's going on, okay? Because they don't want to be by themselves. And then also they are afraid of being criticized. So now we have the abandonment, okay? The abandonment create the person fear of abandon. So they don't want to be by themselves regardless of the situations. Okay? So what they show, they resist the advice when somebody gives them advice. They can be manipulative, very manipulative. People who suffered abandonment can be very manipulative because their whole idea, I don't want to go, I don't want to stay by myself, I don't want to suffer abandonment anymore. Okay? So they will do anything to hold on to a relationship, to hold on to somebody, to hold on to a job, to hold on to anything it is that are really not safe, not good for them, but you know what? Do anything to me, but not leave me alone. So this other person who will fake crying, who will fake sick, who will fake anything, who will act, we will do anything in this world to stay in a relationship or to, once they get abandoned or once you tell them, okay, that's not working, one thing like that, then they have a crisis. They have a temper tantrum in their lives. They can't function, period. They just can't function without, the fear of abandonment. And that started before the child even was born. That started in the child's life. And it can also happen when they are kids, when they are in kindergarten. But really, it happens way back and in the childhood of an individual. That's where you usually find those.
For the abandonment part, do they also, when it comes to certain things, do they jump from one relationship to the next immediately because they don't want to be alone?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So what they will do, remember, the fear of being abandoned again. So that fear alone will not make them jump from one relationship to relationship because that will prevent them. But in regardless, okay, the fear will make them stay regardless. They will manipulate the person to stay with them. And of course, if that doesn't work, they're not going to stay by themselves for so long because they cannot leave. They become anxious. They become very anxious with themselves. For them, it's like living with somebody or being with somebody. It's their main goal in this life. Okay? It's like I am not me if there was not somebody there. That's what That's why sometimes we do things, to children or to youth or to something. Sometimes we do things in a good way, but we have to explain to them, I am going to leave you, but I am coming back to get you. We have to talk to the kids when we are training them so they don't feel that they are being abandoned. If we're living a relationship, for example, the single parent, you are outside of the family, so you have to make the child, because you don't divorce the child, you divorce the father or the mother. So you have to make the child understand that I didn't abandon you, I abandoned the relationship, but you will always be my child. I'm talking about for anybody out there who are raising kids by themselves, okay, because we have everyone. So the children do not suffer. Oh, my dad abandoned me when I was whatever I age, so now they will do anything, okay, even the insane thing, to stay in a relationship. Of course, they will not jump from one relationship to the next one. They will make it work regardless, if we can call it make it work. But once they become by themselves, of course, they're going to look for the opportunity to get to the next one, to the next relationship, if that answers your question. So can we continue with the next one, the rejection, okay? The rejection, it's like very early on life. Like I was starting, I told you, I suffered rejection from conception. That can start from conception until the first year of age, okay? It can be, you can be rejected for anything in this life, okay, not only before birth, but usually it's before birth. So we talk about those teenagers who are, like I remember there is somebody who told me one time that my mom didn't want to have me. She had already 5 kids, and then she didn't want to have me. So when she was pregnant and she was miserable the whole time, and then the bad thing is the mother told the child, I didn't want you. So I know we don't know any better. That's what I'm saying. So that child grew with that sense of rejection, being rejected. She never thought she was pretty enough. She never thinks she can do things enough. So what happened to those people when they become an adult? And they hold back from putting themselves forward because they assume they're going to be rejected. If you tell them anything to do for that, okay, I would like you to do this for me and that. Oh, no. Nobody's going to like it. Nobody's going to appreciate it. So they already, ahead of time, know that they're going to be rejected. And somebody don't have to be rejected emotionally only. We talk about also rejection physically speaking. When we push somebody, when we beat them, when we tell them words that we're not supposed to tell them about themselves or about a defect or whatsoever. So all of those can affect them. And that person is always dissatisfied with who they have. But they have rich imagination. Remember, they were rejected, so they're creative. They are very creative. They have alternative. They have tendency to withdraw from others, and then sometimes they can be very lonely person. Unlike the person who had the fear of abandonment, but that person who was rejected, they always want to be by themselves. They always to be, that doesn't mean they're not going to have relationship, but most of the time they love being by themselves because of that fear of being rejected. It could be, like I said, verbally, or even your attitude can be a rejection to somebody. The way you look at someone can reject the person, especially child, and the way we look at people sometimes. Yes, we're telling them something without telling them anything verbally. Body language, exactly. So, but they are perfectionists, so they have a lot of things that are good at the same time, but they have a lack of self-respect for themselves. Once they're doing things, they allow people to do anything to them sometimes because, they have a tendency to they already know that you're going to reject them, so they don't care that much because they already prepare for it. So what they need to be working on